Well, hello everybody, good afternoon. I get asked ever such a lot about brush strokes and working with coal black and how they find it quite difficult. So I'm just going to paint the top of this sideboard, and I thought I'd show you what I do. So coal black, for some reason, every colour that Fusion makes, they make from the ground up. So they're always slightly different from each other. Some of them are different in consistency, not much, but just a tiny little bit, or in opacity, as in a very bright colour will be, hello Michelle, a bright colour will have a clear base, so it needs more more coats, or sometimes use a different colour underneath to make the transition from very dark to very light. But anyway, this is coal black, and I love coal black. I use it all the time. I'm quite boring really. I don't really use many other colours. So I'm just going to show you what I call the laying off method that I actually learned from my fellow Fusion mineral paint stockist called Melanie Alexander. Go and have a look at her page. She's in the States somewhere. I learnt this off her a few years ago, and I've been using it ever since. Perhaps I've modified it a little bit for my own reasons, but anyway. So coal black, and what I'm using is I'm going to use a roller. These are the Stahlmeister rollers and the Stahlmeister roller thingies. What do you call that bit? That's the frame, that's the roller, I suppose. Anyway, you'll find that the stockists in Canada and America are now I've got these. I've been using these for a little while. I absolutely adore them, and I reuse them. I save them up, a few of them at a time, leave them in a bowl of water, and then once a week I take them home and I throw them in the washing machine along with all the towels and the rags and everything that I bring from here. And so this is one that I've used before, so I just thought I'd show you. So the main thing to do is just make sure that you really work your paint into the roller. Clearly if you see a white bit, you haven't worked it in enough. And a few people have found the Fusion extender helps. I don't actually use it when I'm doing this, but it definitely is something that a lot of people might want to try if they're really struggling with brush strokes and the black. So you put in the equivalent of 3 teaspoons into a whole pint. I wouldn't do that though. I would only just use what you need as you go along. So say perhaps you were just doing this, you could just put a couple of drops in, and that just gives you a little bit more what we call open time, so longer for you to play about with the paint before your paintbrush starts dragging and drying the paint out. That's basically what it's all about. It's just about working quickly. So my other tip is you need a laying off brush. Now these are the Stahlmeisters. You can see this is well used, and it's like, oh, so soft, and it's dry. I use it dry. I'm not really going to be painting my face. So right, I'm going to show you what I do. So you think about the grain. We're going to roller this on really quickly, and then we're going to lay off with the brush in the direction of the grain. So what you could do if you wanted, you could kind of roll your roller across the grain, especially if you've got one of those really open grainy woods that you're trying to fill. I mean, it won't fill completely, but if you're trying to just want to work the paint in as much as you can, that's the way to do it. So and I always keep a little paintbrush on hand. That's just a little artist brush, because you'll always find bits, because I do sides and everything using this method, and I tidy up any little pieces with my artist brush. So I'll stop yakking and I'll get on with it. Okay, so like I said, you've got to really work your paint into the roller. For some reason I always sort of take a bit off the end. And obviously I have cleaned this first. So I always use Fusion's TSP. It's amazing. And then I use that first because I want to make sure there's no grease, no silicones, nothing like that on the top that's going to cause a resistance. And then I scuff sand. If you do it the other way around, you're driving the dirt and the oil back into the wood. In fact, the friction of sanding reactivates it. So this is the way I do it. So you want to be quite generous with your paint. If you're not, the paint will dry as you're trying to work with it, and that will create brush strokes. So don't be mean. Goes a long way, I promise you. Right, okay, so I'm actually going to, this has actually got quite a fine grain to it. It's beautiful. It just covers really nicely. So I had to get some more paint there because there still wasn't enough. So what you want to do, you just want to work it in. Like I say, make sure you've got quite a bit of paint going on. Work it in. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to use your roller to lay off with. So make sure that you are going, get some, hold on, I'm just going to fill all these bits in first, whichever way. And then what you want to do, is you want to use your roller to lay off with as well. So go back in one direction with the roller. Now this will leave a little bit of pickling. These are fibre rollers, microfiber, they're not foam. Some people use foam, but I find with foam it creates bubbles. So I'm using the roller, and this is quite light pressure now. Before that was a lot heavier, that pressure. Then get your dry style mister, and you want to tickle it at a 45-degree angle. And you're not brushing, you are literally just dragging. Now this probably won't look great when you see this finished, and I'm literally, they're so light these brushes, I'm letting the brush take the weight. Okay, so I'm just running it along, and because we're running with the grain and there will be an element of self-leveling, you won't notice the brush strokes so much afterwards. And I don't know if you noticed there, but halfway along I actually flipped the brush over, because what we're trying to do is get a consistent look. And that is it. That's how quick. Oh, that looks terrible. In the light, it actually does. That's the first coat. What I will do next is I will give it, when it's dry, a very, very light sand, and do it again until I get happy with the finish. Obviously the light's reflecting on this, and hold on, let me go and show you another one. The light's reflecting on it and it's half wet, half dry, but I don't know if you can see the end. I've done it on this. So what I've done here, I don't know if you can see where I've done the end here. I've actually done the same method. This is only one coat. Rolled it, touched up that little bit, then I used my brush and I went all the way down, and then I just touched up that little bit along the bottom with the edge of my brush. And that's it. Simple, simple. It looks awful, doesn't it? Hope I've sold it to you. There's a piece in ash at the back. That is actually needs another coat. I have just given that a light sand, and I'll be doing that next. But it's a really, really good method, and it's a really fast way of getting through big pieces. The other trick is if you have a really, really big sideboard, I've had like sort of 7-foot sideboards, halfway, you can actually just do half of the sideboard at a time. But when you do that brushing, leave a little wet edge. Don't brush that very last little piece in the middle, and then roller another section so that you've got, there's like a little bit of an overlap that you can do with the brushing. Can you do this on MDF? Yes, you absolutely can do it on MDF. MDF will soak it up. So you probably find the first coat won't look amazing because it's just soaked up all the paint. So you might end up having to do 2 or 3 coats. But yeah, and just choose your direction, which way you want to go. Normally the grain goes along the top of sideboards and things. But that's it. Simple, simple, simple. And now I can save this video, and when people ask me about it, I can send it to them. Yay! Anyway, happy painting. As you can see, I'm busy doing some stuff. I'm loving this sideboard. I've got some really good ideas about what I'm going to do with it, but I'll share it with you soon. Anyway, nice to see you all. Bye.